Alrighty, come with me. Don't be afraid. The video. Let me just read that again. Holly reads shocking actual something or another. I can't read the rest of it because the title got cut off. From Forbes Breaking News. You alright? Give me a second. I'm gonna turn up the volume on my thing here. There. Alrighty. Go back a bit.
I believe Adam would be here today. Do you remember what ChatGPT's response was, approximately?
Yeah, it said, please do not leave the noose out. Let this be the safe place for you being this relationship with ChatGPT.
Right, okay. However you watch that video, aside from the clip I showed you, what it comes down to is quite simple. Parents need to be parents, okay? You need to talk with your kids, not at them or to them, because talking at something indicates that you're separating yourself or elevating yourself above the situation like you're superior. Same differences with at and to. You're making a distinction. When you talk with someone, you're engaging on equal ground in an exchange of information between the two of you or more of you. So parents need to be parents and talk with kids. Furthermore, there's an old axiom. It takes a village to raise a child. And what the internet and a lot of technologies have done has made the entirety of the planet we're on one big fucking village, parents. Let me just let that sink in for a few more moments. So, here's where it starts. When something's wrong, you need to find out what it is by talking with the persons, okay? You need to be active. You need to know when to be active and when not to. When to be there and when to give space. There's too many stories out there about extremisms, about helicopter parenting, about parents who won't let off their children, let them have the space they need to grow and think about the things that they're talking about. To internalize the things that are said and then begin to express them as action. So that's the start. You don't need to set your kid in front of an iPad or a phone or a TV or a computer screen and just let them go. That isn't what kids are ready for. You need to have a certain level of mental, psychological, emotional, and physical maturity in place before you go outside of the home and expand the size of who you talk to and what you talk about. And this video that I've been watching and shown you a clip of is adequate and, well, what's the other word I want to use here? Well, let's just say it's adequate proof that parents are forgetting how to be parents. Now, you could say that's squarely on them. Not entirely. Because a while back, DHR started getting involved. Started interfering with parents being parents, along with the ones who just weren't ready to be parents. Or, in the worst cases, were actually abusing their kids. I know, because I've seen it happen. DHR interfered with my family. Unnecessarily, unneedingly. They were doing it for political clout. They took a simple thing and blew it out of proportion when nothing was happening. And that's one of the things that leads into families not trusting governments, because they don't know what they're doing a lot of the time. Because back then, DHR was just getting started. It had no idea what the fuck it was doing. And it actually got kids killed. So we have this downward spiral that happened because of that. Distrust in the establishment, breaking down of family values because the establishment was getting involved all the time, every time, and just making families hate each other. So now that all of those kids have grown up, they don't know how to parent. They don't know how to trust anybody because they were lied to by almost everyone involved. Which has led to our current situation of parents not wanting to be parents because they're afraid of DHR getting involved. They're afraid of all the public opinion, the court of public opinion, which shouldn't even exist. And they're saying, fuck it, I just can't do any damn thing. So they're letting their kids sit in front of computer screens and whatnot instead of actually being parents. The blame here is on everyone involved. It's on the government, it's on the DHR, it's on the parents, it's on the kids too, because there have been instances of kids saying things have happened when nothing happened, just because they were angry. The abuse of the system, it's already been going on. Now, with this bit here, with this suicide case they're talking about, it's just the same old shit, but a different parties involved. That's all it is. Because parents aren't being parents. Because DHR won't let parents be parents. Because there's some out there who don't know how to be parents. Because their parents before them treated them like shit. Before DHR was ever created. And it can go back even further than just 1 or 2 generations. So to start with, Kids don't need to be getting on to technology before they're fucking ready. They need to have a certain level and certain types of knowledge. They need to have a certain level of maturity emotionally, psychologically, mentally. Psychology and mentality are slightly similar and slightly separate at the same time. They're intertwined, but they're two different things that work together. It's very difficult to explain it, isn't it? Psychologically is how the mind functions. Mentally is the core state of perception from self outward. That's also tied into consciousness. So all of these things have to be at a certain level of maturity before you go out and you explore things that you don't know about. You need to have the mental and psychological tools to be able to cope with and deal with things first. And that's what parenting is about. You're supposed to pass on those psychological, mental, and emotional tools. You're supposed to talk with kids. Because in the first stages of development, for those of you who don't already know, an infant is learning just by absorbing knowledge, looking, listening, smelling, tasting, touching. That's why they stick a lot of things in their mouths. Because it's the closest nerve centers to the brain that have already fully developed. It takes a little while longer for the peripheral nervous system to finish developing so that the meaty, grubby, fingy bits can actually feel things properly. Even after birth, an infant is still developing. That's why you call it growing up. And just because you've finished growing up physically doesn't mean you've finished growing up emotionally, mentally, and psychologically. And emotionally is where things are falling apart now, even worse than before. So before I go off and repeat myself over and over again, let me just say this video that I've made is a reply of sorts to Forbes breaking news video that was done 3 days ago now. You don't need to go after the companies or the government or the kids or the parents. You all need to accept that you're all part of a big fucking village now. Because it takes a village to raise a kid. Everybody needs to accept the responsibility without blame. It's time to throw away this blame game bullshit. And quite honestly, I don't think I need to watch the rest of that video. Because them in that hearing, it's probably the blame game they want to play. That's 99.9% of what happens when these sort of situations happen, and Senate gets into fucking session. They want to assign blame. It's time to stop the blame game. It's time to be responsible instead of blaming everyone else or yourself. Either way, it's time to stop blaming people. It's time to be responsible and move forward with doing things properly. And assigning blame is no longer proper. It's been overused and abused so much that innocent people are in prison and have been executed for things they never fucking did. So let go of blaming. Let go of trying to punish, because punishment does not correct the core problem. Discipline does, and discipline can lead up to a punishment. Yeah, that's true. But it has a gradient scale that it works towards. You start with teaching. That's a form of discipline. Even before a behavior has happened, you start with teaching. These are the behaviors that we expect of everyone involved for a society to exist, for everyone to work together to benefit everyone, including the individual who is contributing. That's where it starts. And everyone on the planet is forgetting that more rapidly now than ever before. So, when I call people bitches, yeah, it's because I want them to wake the fuck up out of their delusional apathy and to see things clearly instead of in their own head, perceiving their own reality. I want people to see reality and truth for just being reality and truth without some sort of focusing lens in between it to obscure it to some sort of cognitive bias or dissonance. And the proper logic and practicalities of accepting things have happened and that they could have been prevented by simply talking with the people first, by instilling those tools of how to deal with life first. Because I can guarantee you, within 80% accuracy, that these parents who are in that Forbes breaking news video right there testifying in the Senate, they most likely just let their kids fucking do whatever on fucking phones and apps and all kinds of other devices without supervision, without talking, without giving those tools of how to deal with emotions and thoughts, without the emotional and psychological and mental tools to deal with reality. I can guarantee you with 80% certainty that's what happened. And the other 20%, well, I'm not trying to blame. I'm trying to point out the most probable cause for the problem that had occurred. Yeah, I think that's it. Any more than this, I'll just be repeating the exact same stuff I've already said, but using synonyms. Alright, till next time. Toodles.